had my daughter, Jessica, my oldest daughter. I remember holding her in my arms and I'm trying to feed her some milk and I'm going, oh dear God, please don't let me mess her up. She's so little and I want her to be happy. I want her to have a good life. Dear Father, what do I do? And the thought that came to me was, never tell her no. And I'm like, okay, how can I possibly do that? I can't do it alone. Dear Heavenly Father, I accept the challenge. I will never tell her no, but I'm going to need your help.
Right.
Will thou please help me? And it was interesting because my daughter had interest in requests.
Mm-hmm.
And this one time she asked me, Mom, she was about 5 years old, and she goes, Mom, is it okay for me to ride an elephant today? I live in Orem, Utah. There are no elephants there. And
just a simple childhood dream.
I'm like, okay, dear Father, I know I said I will never tell her no. So you tell me what to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought that came to me was, tell her that if you happen to see an elephant, you will make sure she rides them. And I'm like, okay, here I go. Mm-hmm. So I turned to Jessica and I said, honey, if I happen to see an elephant today, I will make sure you ride them. And she's like, really? And she was so excited. She went over and she woke up her little sister. Her little sister was 3 years old and she's like, what's up? You know, and she goes, Mom said she will let us ride an elephant today if she happens to see one. And Nicole's like, this is incredible. Yes. So both of them got up. They went over to the neighbor's house. They had 3 little boys there. And they're like, guess what?
We're going
to ride an elephant today. And they're like, us too? So now I have 5 little children in my kitchen, jumping up and down for joy. And I'm going, oh, dear Heavenly Father, please have mercy on my soul. Because I'm not allowed to tell them no.
Yes.
Right? Anyway, no sooner did I say that little desperate prayer that my best friend called me up and says, hey, guess what? Did you know the circus is in town today?
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, I had no idea. I'm like, how much is it? And she goes, well, it says that if we pay for adult passes, the kids get in for free. And I'm like, oh no. With so many kids in Utah, that place is going to get filled up fast. Mm-hmm. We better go and get our tickets and save our seats as soon as possible. So I'm like, you get home and I'm going to get my stuff ready. Hey, by the way, is it okay if I take the neighbor kids too? And she's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay. So I went over and I asked the neighbors, hey, can I borrow your kids for the night so I can take them to the circus? And they're like, that's great. We get over there and there was a guy kind of sweeping around a little bit, and he kind of gives me a funny look and he's like, you guys are here super early.
The circus doesn't begin for
like it was like
hours.
A few more hours. And I'm like, yeah, I know, we're just trying to save seats, you know. And he's like, would you guys be interested in having the kids do an elephant ride? I have the elephants just out back. Would you like that? And I'm like, yes, please. So he went over and he grabbed an elephant. He's like, yeah, come on in over to the arena. So all the kids got to go and everybody was able to get on the elephant and ride. And I got to take pictures. It was so fun.
That is incredible.
So that's just one story of impossible that I couldn't make happen, but through my Lord, it will happen.
Yes. Well, and I can only imagine the faith that was created in your daughter from experiences like that from such a young age. To have a dream. I call those dreams. And I'm a big proponent of talking to women about dreaming and just always dreaming and believing in your dreams, and then you can create them. That it begins with that dream. And her saying, I want to ride an elephant. We don't want to squash those little baby dreams because anything's possible.
Right. And that's what I learned through those years of my daughter's life is that every time that they ask me for something, I'm going, what? Yeah, for sure. Let me say a little prayer and let's, of course you can have anything you want, and then be absolutely shocked when it actually happened,
Yes.
Um,
Well, and I love that you can have anything you want. That's something that I agree with, and I've always told my kids, and I've had some people challenge that, thinking maybe that's, or the tendency might be to think, well, that is not spoiling,
mhm,
and it's like, no, it's just teaching them they can have anything they want. That
yeah,
doesn't mean I'm going to give it to them,
right.
and there's a big difference between that.
Yes,
But you can truly have, and we can read that in the scriptures, that your desires can be granted, your
yes.
righteous desires. So you can have anything you want, but you got to be willing to create it and to partner.
And you gotta
with
be
God.
able to love and to trust, to have faith. I mean, you have to have a lot of courage in order to have faith, and
It's all action required.
it requires a lot of things, and a lot of things that you can't see but are happening inside of our brains, inside of our hearts, inside of our soul,
Yes.
right? I'll tell you another one.
Okay.
The story starts in Hawaii. I actually got a free trip to a 10-day trip to Hawaii, and we're having the time of our lives. At least I'm having the time of my life. And I look over at my daughter Jessica, and I realize she's not. And I'm like,
how's she not having fun in Hawaii? Probably without friends.
well, it's funny because anytime we go on vacation, I mean, the torture of my kids' lives are that we end up in Hawaii or the Caribbean or some island somewhere.
Such torture.
Yeah, the torture. It's just sad. My kids are much more educated than I am, in a way, and they love to see theaters and they like to go to museums and things like that. And I'm like, that's so boring. I want to go to the beach. So we're at the beach. I'm having a great time. I look over at Jessica and I'm like, honey, are you okay? And she goes, Mom, never mind. It's okay. And I'm like, no, tell me, what's going on? And she goes, well, if I had the opportunity to come up with a vacation, we would be going to New York City. Well, fun fact, I grew up in a big city in South America. I'm from Santiago, Chile. And I'm like, go to a big city, stinky. Like, no, I don't want to go to New York. And I'm like, but she does. And I'm not here to squash a dream.
Right.
And so this, if this is something that you want to learn, this right here, this is the part that you want to listen to. And that is that how you respond to Jessica is going to define whether this dream is going to grow or you're going to kill it. So a really easy way to kill her dream is go, so how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? See, that puts you in that mentality of, I'm the one that is responsible for making this happen. And that's mean, because my daughter was only 16 years old at the time. How is she going to get herself to New York City? Do you see that? So we never ask, and anybody, including ourselves, we should never ask ourselves, how am I going to accomplish this?
Okay, interesting. Keep going with this, because
Okay.
I have a different thought process, but I can see where I'm learning.
Okay, and instead, what I said to my daughter was, wow, that's really fun. So why do you want to go there? She got all excited and she's like, oh, let me see. I want to go see Broadway plays. I want to go to Carnegie Hall and watch somebody play the piano. I want to go to see the Statue of Liberty. I mean, this girl had an itinerary about a mile long of all the things she wanted. She had a big why. And I'm like, then yell it into the ocean right now. Let God hear you, And she's like, I want to go to New York City. And I go, okay, then pray and ask Heavenly Father to send you there. She stiffened up again and she got angry. And I go, why are you angry? Why would somebody get angry at saying a prayer?
A lack of belief.
Because
They're
they're
not
starting,
thinking
because
they're
their brain starting to wonder, how's it going to happen?
Yes.
How,
Mhm.
how? And the how is going to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And Satan is very quick to jump in and tell you, hey, you're too young. You can't do it.
Right.
You don't have the money. You can't do it. You don't have this. You don't have that. Here's an excuse. Here's a limitation. You can't have it.
Mm-hmm.
So she stiffened up and she's like, Mom, I'm too young. And I'm like, yeah, you are. You're way too young. And then time is going to pass and one day you're going to be too old. And you're never going to know the correct day that you should have gone to New York City. But why would God put that thought in your heart now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Because, I mean, unless we're calling him a narcissist, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Why would he give you a dream that can't be done? We need to be of the idea that if the idea came into my heart, it's because the idea is possible.
Yes.
So I said, can you step off your logical brain and can you decide that because God is great, you're going to New York City and it doesn't matter that you're 16? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, let's say a prayer then. Okay, I want to be completely transparent when I say this, okay? Because in a way, I was trying to coach my daughter through her fears because she and her doubts because she's wondering how she's going to make it to New York City being so young. But I'm over here kind of scared to death because I know Heavenly Father will grant her wish. And I'm going, oh dear Jesus, I am so afraid of this. And I want you to answer her prayer. However, can you please help me get rid of all my fear? Because I'm terrified.
Right. You want her to be safe. You want her,
absolutely. I mean, I'm like, dear Heavenly Father, please help me. But this is all in my head. Aside, I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. You know, Heavenly Father can give you anything. Anyway, so she said her prayer. She felt a lot better. The burden was taken from her. And she was able to have a great time for the rest of the time we were in Hawaii. Well, when we got home from that vacation, I went back to work and she went back to school. At school, the choir teacher had an announcement. He's like, guys, look, I know I promised you all a trip to California for a choir tour, but that's not going to happen. Too many fires. I don't like it. So I decided to make an executive decision, and instead we're going to go to
New York City.
New York City. Thank you. So here's the itinerary. We're gonna go to the UN and sing there. We're going to go